at the end of the line. I suggest you find the train's
Hello,
controls.
Tangerine. I forgot that I was supposed to speak.
No, I just listened to the voice acting. So.
Oh, beautiful. This is so we had Realms Deep, which is the big boomer shooter, weird horror game, PSX looking shit, RPGs, retro stuff, immersive sims, all that good shit comes in Realms Deep. And yeah, so I checked out a couple of demos for Realms Deep. It's also currently Steam Demo Fest right now. I'm in the middle of Spooky Month, and they're like, yo, Realms Deep, and also Steam Next Fest. We're dropping 100 demos on your ass, and I'm like, okay, well, I guess I gotta play these.
Yeah.
So I thought I'd go through.
Curious to come to the same time.
Realms Deep, I think it released like. Oh, this is something I see a lot in boomer shooters. They just add random shit for no reason. They're just like, look how we can make vending machines with different vending options. Or here's an... I swear I've played like 4 or 5 retro shooters that are like, here's an arcade machine that you can play on in-game. It's like, okay, cool.
You're not
No, I don't like it. It's just a bit overplayed at this point.
Right. You want more of the gimmicks that are different. I understand.
But yeah, Realms Deep, they released a bunch of demos before the next fest, which I'm sure they'll probably still be available during the next fest. So I was like, I'll check out some Boomer Shooter stuff. We'll split that up into a separate video, and then I'll check out more stuff for Steam Next Fest and see if there's other stuff that's outside of the Boomer Shootery universe to check out. And the first
Boomer
one,
Shooter Cinematic Universe.
Yeah, the Marvel crossover,
Yeah.
Stuart Little universe. Yeah. I checked out Phantom Fury, and I was quite excited for Phantom Fury because I have not played Iron Fury, but I hear it's one of the tightest build engine boomer shooters out there, and this is the first 3D FPS they're working. I believe it's on Unreal Engine 4. I think this is, rather than build engine. And as soon as it came out, I read like really mixed things about they were saying it's in a really rough state. And after playing it, I was like, I don't know, maybe I'll just check it out myself. And after playing it myself, I gotta say, it's in a really fucking rough state.
Okay. So, what's the core issue, I suppose?
So the pace of the game is really slow.
Right.
They have these really slow enemies that are like, dare I say, bullet sponges. They sort of just they tank everything, and there's no real knockback to your weapons. They just kind of stand there and get shot.
Oh yeah, I can see
and it's like, okay, how do I even tell I'm doing damage at this point? You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was just very little weapon feedback. So all of your the combination of tanky enemies and no feedback on your weapons just made the game feel very like bullet spongy and slow, which I think is very different to the sort of the first game or the sort of game that I usually like to play. We will talk about purposely making slow games for the next game, but yeah, it didn't feel great.
Yeah.
And the AI was super fucking strange. It's like the AI was constantly just running at you. It just saw you and it just ran at you. And you just have to kind of just walk backwards while trying to pump damage into these super tanky motherfuckers with no feedback. And yeah, it just felt so strange. It was like, I had a guy, because the AI agent just runs at you, right? I had a guy... Yeah. He saw me and he ran into a different train cabin. The entire first level takes place on a moving train cabin, which I gotta say, not great for motion sickness.
Oh really? Okay.
Yeah, I was feeling a little bit motion sick on some of the cab, because there's inside cabin sections and there's outside cabin sections, right?
Is it?
And that's when I got to get into performance, because the performance was kind of all over the place. It got a lot worse when you were outside, and then when you went inside the train cabin, it was a bit better.
Is it always in a tunnel?
No, you go outside a tunnel as well.
Okay.
Also, I have no fucking idea what this guy's gun does. So, the game starts out. There's no difficulty selection. because all the enemies were super bullet sponge, and I was like, okay, maybe this is the hardest difficulty, right? Because I'm just pumping ammo into people, and they're not dying. But I'm like, why would you demo a game on the hardest difficulty? That makes no sense. There's people like me who've never played your game, and I'm coming in and I'm going, oh, you know, why is it so difficult? Like, why are the enemies so tanky? And also, it gives you like 500 weapons, does not explain any of them, and goes, I'm assuming they're just assuming anyone playing this demo has played Iron Fury. And so from looking at this from the perspective of someone who's never played Iron Fury, I have no fucking idea what half the guns do. I tried out a bunch of them, and none of them felt great. They all just felt kind of shit, I think, is fair to say.
Is that because the bullet sponginess of
there's no feedback. There's no
feedback,
Yeah, I don't know. But there's stuff I like. I like the immersive sim stuff. So I like that you can play arcade machines. There's fans in the game, and you can not only turn them on and off, you can individually alter the speed of the fan for no reason other than somebody looked at it and went, wouldn't that be cool? This is what I'm saying. Like, it's gimmicky, but it's like, I still think it's like, what if you could have a full immersive crane that you could control and it was to solve a puzzle? And I'm like,
I
don't
that's
know.
Cool. That's gimmicky, but it actually has a purpose. I think that's pretty cool.
There's this entire section, you have to use a crane to stack crates to climb onto another cabin. And I was getting Half-Life 2 Highway 17 flashbacks. In Half-Life 2, there's an entire section where you basically have a giant magnet on a crane, and you have to use it to pick up your Jeep and move it across onto another section. I hate that section. It is so tedious and hard to control. And I was like, I don't think they did the crane controls any better in this section. The crane controls were so strange and so hard to use. I was like,
maybe,
I wasn't really enjoying this.
Maybe this is authentic crane operation. Yeah,
maybe. I don't know. But yeah, there's like a jukebox you can turn. It'll start playing music to the level, which I liked. I liked the like small attention to detail. It's just like the core game is just not great right now. I feel like
you don't just walk across the arm of the crane and just like use the boxes.
So that Tony, you're thinking like an immersive sim player right now.
Okay.
Where you're just going, well, obviously there's an intended way to do it, or there's one way to do it, but couldn't I do a different way to do it? Which, to be honest with you, I just didn't think of that. That's what I will say.
Well, I just wondered maybe it's not possible. Maybe just like it's not. Maybe there wasn't like a mesh to it. But I don't know. You never know.
So there was this charged arm attack that you could do. I was like, oh, cool. There's a weird charging up melee attack you can use. I'll try that out. But it was like, it was so slow, and I felt like it did no damage. So you would basically, enemies run at you, right? They're super bullet sponges. So an enemy would run at you, stand in your face, and the entire time you're going, oh, I'm going to punch you at some point when this fist charges up. And they're just slamming you, hitting you, taking your health. You're like, oh, you're about to get punched, mister. Just you wait until this arm charges up. And I'm just like, it felt awful. I was like, why would anyone ever use this ability? It sucks. But it's because I played the whole demo, and when I got to the end, there was like this loadout drone that comes down. And this is the smooth jazz on the jukebox I was talking about, by the way, which I like the song. It comes down, it's like you can upgrade your loadout, so you can make your gun better, you can make your charged arm better. And I'm like, does the charged arm get better as the game goes on? Because right now it's fucking useless. Like if the idea was to make it like more impactful with upgrades, cool, but I think the baseline shouldn't feel fucking awful. It's like how in Mad Max Fury Road, the car feels awful to control. And then you upgrade it over time, and then it feels less awful to control, but still not great.
It should be good that it should become great, right? That's kind of the idea.
Yeah.
Well,
when you put a working arcade machine in Celico, I'm going to be like, that's fucking awesome, because Celico is running on the Doom engine, like GZ Doom, right? I'm like, that's super impressive. When you make it an Unreal Engine 4, cool, but it's not as impressive as when they did it in Celico.
But
which, you know, it's always nice to put optional side content in for people. But I think don't get bogged down with adding more random interactable stuff. I would say you gotta go back and rebake the core gameplay, because at the moment it's just not great. I heard it was rough. Gameplay is rough, and the performance is a little not great. If I can skip ahead, show some different gameplay. Oh, there's a turret section, because of course there is. That was such. Do you remember turret sections in FPS games?
I do. I do remember turret sections.
There's plenty of them in like Bulletstorm.
I don't mind
Duke
them.
Nukem Forever.
Yeah. I don't mind them, but
people were saying based on the demo, I think some people were saying like what we wanted was a good version of Duke Nukem Forever. What we got with the demo is Duke Nukem Forever. Which I was like, well, that's one way to say it.
I think this is better than Duke Nukem Forever, but I don't know.
Well, Duke Nukem Forever has a bunch of interactable stuff for no reason. Like, you go into the toilet and you pick up your shit and throw it. And you're not picking up your shit and throwing it, but it does have that just random interactable objects for no reason.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know this, but Duke Nukem Forever actually had the kill enemies for ammo system that Doom made very popular with Doom 2016.
Oh, does it?
Nobody fucking used it because it was so slow.
Okay.
Also, Tony, I'd said again, I don't know.
Yourself?
I don't know what this foam gun does. I tried to use it.
I think you've killed yourself more than enemies with it so far. What the hell? You meant to then shoot it?
I think they need like a proper tutorial. I mean, when you have a shotgun and a boomer shooter and it doesn't feel good, that's when you know something's off. Like, you're just like, oh, something doesn't feel great about this.
Yeah. You want the enemies to go flying across the room, surely.
Yeah, I've seen on the community forums other people, because I was curious what other people thought of the demo as well, and yeah, people are not happy about this. They basically saying delay the game pretty much.
Yeah.
Based on and I don't want to be mean, but I kind of got to agree with them. I'm not a big fan of the demo.
Well, I would say at the very least, like, it looks like the core is like stable. Like, I feel like it just like needs some polish.
The visuals look fine.
Balancing. Yeah,
but you need to
these
change
things
something.
you're saying like aren't like, they're not. I feel like it's maybe not easy to fix, but it's not like, oh, you like overhaul like the entire game idea or the game premise.
Yeah. Let's move on to the next
So I feel
one.
like it's fixable.
Robocop Rogue City. This one kind of came out of. We talked about this on the podcast before. The demo lets you choose your difficulty. Kind of crazy.
Huge.
I usually select normal in games because I'm like, well, unless the game has a specific description where it goes, select this option if you want to. As
intended.
Yeah, it's like usually if it's like this is for experienced FPS gamers, I'll usually just click that option because I'm like, well, I've played a lot of FPS games. But Tony, have you ever seen Robocop? I've never seen Robocop. But I played this game and I'm like, this game makes you feel like Robocop based on my understanding of how Robocop works. You know, it's like
you've seen stuff of Robocop.
I've seen clips of Robocop and like short little snippets, but I've never watched the full film. The general idea, it's like, well, I've got gathered from clips I've seen and playing the game. A guy dies, a cop dies, and they resurrect him through robotics to basically use him to fight crime as like an experiment, right?
Yeah, but very big thing is a corporation owns Detroit, and they're trying to scrap it and destroy it for a new city.
That's very much what's happening in Robocop Rogue City. It is very much the cops are like privately owned. And basically giant gangs rule the entire the city, and there's a new big player in town, and all the gangs are basically trying to make big plays to get the new mysterious big player in town to basically hire them as their goons. So the game starts off with this gang taking over the news station, for the torch heads, as they're called.
Okay.
But I
cool-
like this
cool
one in
gimmick.
contrast to Phantom Fury because this game is like super slow on purpose because Robocop is essentially like a giant tank. Like you're essentially just like a tank on legs.
In the film, like there's obviously he can get hurt, but like a lot of small arms will just like bounce off him.
But yeah, it does make you feel like Robocop 10 out of 10 IGN. You know that meme where it's like, this game makes you feel like Spider-Man. It's just like...
I say it a lot. I just like, I can't help but say it makes you feel like X.
But I think they genuinely did do a good job of translating the source material to a video game. It's sort of janky, but also really fun. It reminds me of that... Terminator game that came out. There was like a Terminator FPS game that was like, it was super janky, but it was actually just pretty fun to play. Let me skip the intro so we can get to some gameplay. Stop, criminal!
I love the look of like because they felt like the film's quite old, so I feel like it's kind of like I think it holds up. Like it's definitely watchable, but I feel like it's the lighting like here is much better, so I'm trying to say.
After playing this game, I'm like, man, I gotta watch Robocop. Robocop seems awesome.
I would recommend Robocop. Maybe not Robocop 2.
Okay. I'm gonna watch all the Robocops. So I can pick up the enemy. You start off with a pistol, which is like your infinite ammo gun. And then you can... Oh, every time you find a piece of evidence that's like the collectibles, it's like... Nuke over there, nice. Confiscate, fake ID, confiscate, crime detected. Cool. And when you hold down right click, it basically goes into like this scanning mode where it like highlights enemies in like this little green grid, which is fucking awesome.
Heads get chopped off, that's huge. That's what we like to see.
Yeah. Torch heads have taken over. Yeah, it's pretty... You can punch people. I like it because the game makes you like really tanky. We can just... walk up to people and throw them across the room, and I'm like, that's sort of how Robocop works. He's just a giant tank.
The gun sounds pretty cool as well, actually. Yeah.
I mean, you're mostly weak to like explosives. I mean, I was playing on normal, so you can turn up the difficulty if you want, which I'm guessing makes you a bit less tanky. And then you basically
still took cover in the film, but
you basically have 3 health packs you can carry, and then once you use one, you regenerate health over time until you get full, unless you get damaged, which will interrupt it. And then you basically find them throughout the levels.
That's kind of cool, yeah.
And you basically move at like a walking pace, but then you do have a sprint button, which makes you move slightly faster as well. So you can move faster if you want to, which I was like, that's cool. But Tony, it's not just like a shooter. It also has like cool RPG immersive sim stuff in it as well. There's there's like there's a level system with like a skill tree. You can speak to characters and there's a dialogue tree. You can like lockpick safes for extra evidence. And stuff like that.
Okay. Not money.
Lockpick for extra evidence, of course, to put away more criminals with the evidence. Robocop wouldn't take the evidence for himself. Yeah. You know? He's not corrupt.
Well, I mean, you are just a robot. You're just
it's the rogue city, yeah.
Yeah. No, this is really cool. Because I was not expecting this to exist, but I'm kind of glad it does. So what is actually like what's janky about it? Like just like the slowness or like...
So the demo actually was immediately after playing it, I was like, oh, this is stuttering. Immediately after I started playing it, every time I loaded a new area or a new particle or whatever shader came on the screen, I was like oh, that's a stutter. That's a stutter.
Right. So you got frame pacing issues.
Yeah, and I even tried, I don't know if I think that maybe I changed it before I skipped ahead, but I actually... This demo has DLSS 3.5 frame generation.
Oh, right. It even has that.
And I tried turning it on to basically... Because I think it has ray tracing. And it also has frame generation. I was like, oh, if it's stuttering, maybe I can brute force through the stuttering if it's a CPU problem by turning on frame generation, which will take basically allows you to get around CPU bottlenecks by putting more processing power onto the GPU. I thought maybe I can brute force it that way. It was okay. I eventually just turned it off because I'm not the biggest fan of frame generation. I'm going to be honest with you. I just the input latency and it's basically like motion smoothing.
Yeah.
On like TVs, right?
I feel like it makes more sense for more cinematic stuff, is what I've like heard from like people. So like I guess like FPS is never a good idea.
You go from like these linear levels to like almost semi-open areas.
Oh, like
and you can do like and you can do like side quests. It reminds
really cool.
The game it reminded me of the most was actually Batman Arkham City. It was like you basically walked around fighting criminals, and then there was like this open world area where you could basically go around, and a couple of cops will come up to you and like, hey, we've got a crime over here, can you help us solve it? And you just go around the crime scene scanning things, being like, oh, this guy's got this chemical in his body. I saw this at a TV set that was recording over here. Let me go and question these guys. You go into a dialogue tree, and then you start asking them questions. But it's like, this is a full-up like really police detective game as well. It's like,
again, it makes you feel like Robocop. That's huge.
And there's like this stat in the game. It's called like, I can't remember. It's called like humanity versus upholding the law. And based on the actions you take, you either are more like to the law or you have more like humanity, basically.
That's really because that is something. Yeah, that's the whole point of the film.
Well, there's a point in this demo where basically you get blown up and you start having flashbacks to when you were alive about like your kid and your wife, I think it is.
Yeah.
Which I was like, man, this demo is super long. I think it took me like an hour and a half to beat it, and then even then it was like, yeah, there's more additional side quest stuff you could do. I was like,
it seems like a massive love letter to Robocop.
I wanted to stop playing this because I was like, I feel like I don't want to replay this again when the full game. Yeah, I don't want to spoil the full game because I'm playing so much of it in the demo, and I want to like not have to basically replay like 2 hours of the game again in the full game. I fucking love this. I think it's great. Again,
I feel like if you watch Robocop, you'd like it more. I want to say.
Yeah, there was a stuttering issue, and there was also voice lines were not matching up to people's lip sync. It was very much, I think if they can. So apparently,
that's probably a frame pacing issue as well.
It was so the game is very big. I downloaded it. It was 49 gigabytes. It's a huge game.
Ooh, really?
Just for the demo. And there was a patch that fixed it. There was a patch that was supposed to fix the technical issues, which was 39 gigabytes. And I was like, at that point, I'd finished it. And I was like, you know what? Fuck this. I'll just read the Steam community. I'm not going to test the game. But apparently, it was 39 gigabytes again because you're essentially... That's the new install size for the game. So you were essentially just re-downloading the whole demo again, just smaller.
Okay. Just scrap it again. Try it again.
I've heard reports that it did fix the stuttering issues. So they put out a demo. It was technically flawed, but really fun. People played it and said, hey, there's an issue. And they went, okay, and then they fixed it.
That's cool.
Which is awesome to see.
And they fixed it for the demo, which sometimes they don't do. Wait, he saw himself in the mirror. It wasn't him.
So, Nacon and Taeon's teams, we rolled out a patch for the Steam demo of Robocop Rogue City, addressing the stuttering issues. You should be having a smoother experience in the streets of Old Detroit. Thank you for your patience and feedback. Have fun. So, there was stuttering.
Okay.
They addressed it and they patched it. When I was like, oh, this is how you make a fucking demo. You have technical issues and then you listen to feedback and you fix them. It feels like a lot of time. With some demos, they put demos out, people go, this is broken, can you fix this? And they just go radio silent, and then they just release the game with a bunch of issues. And it's just like, well, it's not like people didn't try and warn you. This is how I see Robocop, right? People are shooting guns at him, and he's just like, fuck off, I'm just walking forward.
You have to get the bigger guns you want to take out Robocop.
I think this high-rise moment was when I knew I loved the game. It was like... What were you going to say?
I was going to say, isn't it? I feel like I feel like it's really hard to get slow-paced tanky stuff.
Yeah.
Like, when you're on a tank, like done well, and I feel like this is like how you do it.
As soon as I shot the high-rise window out, I was like, wait a minute. You can't just throw people outside the fucking window, can you? And then I was like, this is when I knew this was going to be a very good game. Just them Wilhelm screaming out the entire way.
With the R-rated, like, yeah. Gruesome blood spaz.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so good.
Yeah, this game is
real squid.
I'll skip ahead.
You got the Matrix pillars as well.
Yeah. I'll skip ahead a bit. This is like the wit because there's like a explosion that hits you. You get hit by an explosion. This is what I was talking about with the weird like
memory error.
The memory coming back. You get like defective.
Yeah. Well, in the lift earlier, like you saw a reflection of your human self, and it's like you got distracted. So you're actually playing. Oh, okay. It's not just like a cutscene. You're actually playing the error.
Yeah. Well, it's just
That's
like
cool.
It's a TV set, but it's set up like a home. So it's sort of like I think that's very creative, like how they did the memory mixing with the actual physical environment.
Yeah, it's mixing in with what you expect. It's like, wait, this is what I lived in.
What do you think about the color of this dress? I'm not sure if I like the pattern. James really looks up to you.
I think there's something I forgot to talk about with the previous one. Mirrors. I think they were using cube map mirrors in the realms in the Phantom Fury demo, which is one way to do it. I feel like a lot of games I play these days, I'm constantly let down by mirrors where devs just completely ignore them.
Yeah.
It's like I was playing Ghostwire Tokyo recently, and every single mirror is just completely... it's a smudge, dirty mess. You're not allowed to see your reflection in it. It's just like, I like looking into mirrors in games. I mean, when it comes to boomer shooters, Duke Nukem was one of the first ones that let you look in a mirror, and it was like, oh, this is fucking awesome, you know? So yeah. But basically, you start seeing your wife, basically you start malfunctioning, and you have to go back to the HQ, and they're like, oh, he's malfunctioning, we've got to fix him.
Yeah.
And they're pissed off. They're just like, we want to fucking shut you down, basically. We don't trust you at all, but we have to keep it going to help fight these criminals, sort of thing.
They're getting paid by the higher ups to have this unit, so you can't get rid of them.
There's a shooting range. So this is the skill. So I was like, wait a minute. Oh my God, there's a psychology tree that lets you basically highlights favorable dialogue options and lets you unlock different dialogue sections. I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to spec into this. There's this thing called public trust, which you gain, where basically if you help out the public, then you get like more reputation with them.
Yeah.
Which is awesome.
It gives you an incentive to do the side stuff, I suppose. Because I assume that's helps increase it.
This is what I was talking about. Basically, this guy wants you to... he basically says, can you help me? There's too many people on my line. Can you open up your own line and talk to these people about their complaints?
Yeah. Wait, so... Okay.
My neighbors are... So this guy's saying my neighbors are hostile to my dog. And Robocop, what was his name? His name's Fire. I keep screaming fire, fire every time I'm looking for him. And I'm like, okay, I think they've nailed like this 80s sense of humor. It's just like, who the fuck has a dog called Fire and like screams out their name? So you can give him a public order for issue a ticket, or you can, issue him a warning and, not do it. I issued him a ticket. I mean, you can't have a dog called Fire. I upheld the law. I upheld the law. This guy is a criminal, and he wants to hand himself in, and he wants the reward for handing himself in.
Okay. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
I'm the guy from that poster, so here I am. Now, give me the money.
I will have to detain you.
Fine, but I still get the reward. right?
Oh, you get a choice.
Sorry, again, I was like, you can hope for a reduced sentence. I thought that's what Robocop would say. I don't know.
Yeah. That
I feel
I'm
like if
pretty
you-
sure there's a similar
I feel like
line.
if you're gonna play this game, there's two ways to play it. There's just to go in and just do whatever the fuck you want, or try and roleplay what Robocop would do.
I would like to report my son missing.
The thing is, if it's like a split between like, do you choose like machine Robocop or like Murphy?
Yeah.
I think it
This
still
is like
works
the-
regardless.
This is the sort of like the more open area where you can. I would say it's still
Right.
like contained.
The
It's not
the
like
alleys and
open world,
streets.
but it
Yeah.
is. There is areas where you just get like people will just go, "Hey, Robocop, can you help me out for a second?"
This is great at night. Look at this.
Yeah, look at those reflections.
Look at the lights. I'm.
But I was
very
just
much
randomly
not
walking
light.
around and he's like, "Hey, someone's got murdered at Robocop. Can you investigate the scene and help us figure out who killed this woman?"
Thanks to you, Kurt's finally had a reason to watch something other than the fast food channel.
Yeah. This definitely is like a massive love letter to the era and the film, I think, and the humor.
After playing this, I'm like, I've got to get Robocop Rogue City. This game's fucking awesome. It was like
This is
kind of on my radar. I was like, oh yeah, they're making a Robocop game for some reason, and I played this and I'm like, okay, I get it now. Robocop is sick.
yeah, that is really cool. I was expecting it to be trash, like make a Robocop game. It was like just like a nostalgia bait game, but this actually looks really good.
Yeah, this is like the detective mode where you can scan. Sort of, it reminds me of like the Arkham system where you're just scanning bodies and getting clues and stuff.
Like obviously, a lot actually solve your crime. I just feel like it's more like an immersive. You have to scan that game.
Yeah, but this is just a
I do
love random
interactions.
side quest. This isn't even part of the story. So I was like, oh, this is interesting.
I really like the people's reaction to you. I think that is brilliant.
But yeah, this game's fucking awesome. Had technical issues, but they seem to have fixed them based on the patch. So hopefully the game releases in a good state. I've seen a lot of people. One thing I saw was people saying, "Oh man, this looks like a 2010 game or an early 2000." I'm like, mate, have you seen? This game looks awesome.
Yeah, it looks great.
Yeah.
Like nighttime, I think we're getting better at nighttime stuff these days. But like for the longest time, like only like really big games did nighttime, but in my opinion,
Yeah.
this actually looks quite good.
Like the open,
Some
the,
stuff
so-
is
the,
flat,
the,
maybe, but
the semi-open world, like detective, like corruption and cops and stuff like that. It's like kind of reminds me of Cyberpunk in some respects. Like,
yeah.
It's very like it's very like 80s retro, but also futuristic in some ways as well.
Yeah, well, this is like it's like futuristic from the point of view from like the 70s, 80s sort of thing. So I think it's really, I love how they still like the old like TVs and remotes and things, and like the old like wiring.
Let's move on to the next game. We have the Last Exterminator, which looks exactly like Duke 3D with bugs. I like how they say, "Yeah, this game's gonna have bugs," and I'm like, "Yeah, it does. All the enemies are bugs." What do you mean?
Right.
Oh, Tony, what engine do you think this is running in?
An old one.
You think it's like a build engine or a
Yeah.
GZ doing it? It's actually a custom engine. So
Really?
I'm not. They made the engine
How
for
does
this
that
game
work? Okay.
because we had Hate-Rot as well. Hate-Rot was running in a custom engine.
Yeah.
I think it was pretty obvious that I said Phantom Fury was like Unreal Engine 4, and then I think Robocop Rogue City is like Unreal Engine 4 or 5.
I would have
these-
said Phantom Fury was like Unity or something.
It's very much, the game starts and, you have a random building in the distance blowing up for no reason, and you're like, yeah, that's Duke Nukem. That's build engine.
Yeah. So they recreate an engine to make it to emulate it.
This game is fucking fun. It's really good. It looks like Duke Nukem, and it plays like Quake. It's the best way I can describe it. It is very fast. You can jump in this game, which always pisses me off in games when you can't jump. I mean, you can't jump in Robocop, but I get that because he's a
You're
fucking
too heavy.
tank.
You couldn't jump.
Yeah. But yeah, the main premise is you are running around a city blowing up bugs because you're an exterminator. The Last Exterminator.
Why?
That's what the game
Why are
is
you
called.
the last one?
I guess they all died to the giant bug creatures.
Right.
Yeah, I did get a little bit lost at this point. I didn't realize I was supposed to keep going and break the glass up there rather than jump down. I played this from the start to the finish, but I was streaming on Discord and I forgot to hit the record button, so I started recording halfway through my playthrough.
Right.
So I was like, oh shit, I need to record. So I don't have like a crazy... I think it's like 5 minutes of footage. But the movement in this game is really good. And the shooting in this game is really good. It is like sort of like Quake level, I would say. It reminds me a lot of Quake, which is a huge compliment, in my opinion. You can kind of like bunny hop around, and yeah, gunplay is very fast, feels very weighty, chunky. Enemies don't take too long to kill. Here's me, you know, bunny hopping around. I'm not really, I'm just jumping, but yeah, just jumping around, having fun.
The whole world is overrun with bugs, and you're here to exterminate bugs and chew bubblegum.
I called up an answer phone, and this guy was like, "Hey, leave a message." I was like, "Oh, it's Giovanni again." I don't. So there's a guy called Giovanni. What's his last? He's Matarita or something like that, and he's basically the voice actor for every single boomer shooter these days. It's like I can recognize Giovanni now when I hear him. Inside a boomer shooter.
So you're saying you should put on a funny voice and make it better.
He does do funny voices, but like he does like a lot of voices for like New Blood. Like he's you hear him on like Fallen Aces and
right.
But he was definitely in this game because yeah, I heard him. But yeah, I think he's a cool voice actor.
It's nice to see. I don't know. I quite like reoccurring voice actors. At least they found something they can keep doing. I thought that's really cool.
Yeah. But I think I've sent you his channel before because he did like the impersonations of Duke Nukem.
Oh, is that guy? Is it?
Yeah. Giovanni Manchagrano is his name.
Okay.
He does the videos where he's like, "Those damn aliens are real." Yeah. Hang on.
No, yeah, you gotta get someone who can like you have the same vibe as like the old shooters. I think that makes sense. Yeah, so this is Quaking Duke Quake.
Yeah, I guess it's fast. It's fun. It's called The Last Exterminator. Yeah, I can't overstate how much I like this. I think it's really good, and I think you should check it out. It's really cool.
That's interesting.
Let's move on to the last one. Got a game called Tyrant's Realm. Tony, PSX Dark Souls? Anyone?
The demake Dark Souls.
It's not a demake, but it is. It is like probably heavy inspired. I don't know. I just saw this game come up on Steam, and I didn't even really know what it was about. I was like, that looks cool. I'll just install that and try it. But yeah, I had quite a bit of fun with this. It's a very like simplistic system, I would say. So basically, the way it works is armor and weapons are grouped into 3 colors: green, red, and yellow. And then as you progress through the level, you find these like upgrade stations that let you upgrade that color. So say you're wearing like green armor and you'll find one of these upgrade stations. Like here's one, for example. You can get plus 50 defense when using green. So yeah, green weapons get extra damage, they get extra defense, get extra block and extra HP. So yeah, I think I mainly went to green stuff because, you know, green's got the giant greatsword that deals like 1,000 damage when you upgrade green. And then I also, because there's a light attack, a heavy attack, you can roll, you can parry. And then you can also find gear with special effects on it. And one of the cool things I bought, so in between levels, there's this thing called the Merchant, and I found this ninja armor that basically it replaces your heavy attack with a special attack that is basically a ranged attack that throws a ninja star. There was like lots of like really cool stuff that was like experimental stuff. Like there was a berserking armor you could get that made your right click basically make you go berserking instead of a heavy attack. Like pumped up your main left attack. Yeah.
Actual interesting addition.
The thing I didn't realize as I was playing this, because I played this for a while and I got through it and I beat all the content and I was like, wait a minute, is this looping? It's actually a roguelite. So as you progress through the level, you go on to the next level and you sort of level up your affinity to the different colors. And then there's a merchant in between which lets you buy new weapons, and it just keeps going through a set amount of levels and then it loops again. Okay. So there was this dungeon level. Then there was... Let's see if I can skip ahead. Here's the end of the level. You just go through a portal. I was trying out different weapons. Is this the merchant? So yes, this is the merchant. So as you destroy crates and kill monsters and stuff, you'll find coins, and then you can use them to buy new gear. And all the gear has colors. So if you're like, well, I was heavily spec'd into green when I was playing, so I was much more likely to pick up green stuff. But it got to a point where I was like, oh, I'm just killing everything with this stuff, and I just started using random items just for the hell, just to test them out. There's spiked armor under red, which is like you can roll into enemies and it deals damage. Here's the ninja gear I was talking about.
So it actually has like a special, like each armor has like a special thing.
Yeah,
that's really cool.
But yeah, I thought this was pretty fun. The only thing I found was after I'd gone through a couple of loops, I was like, okay, this is kind of repetitive, you know?
Yeah, there's no like no mission or
I wish there was like a gold. This is quite cool armor. It's like a cultist armor that basically lets you regen health over time.
It's quite funny with how you walk with the shield.
Yeah, I look like I need to go and take a quick one. But I need to pee dance.
You've been praying too much to the cow. You need to have a bit. Oh, this is a boss.
It just drops you into like these I guess mini boss fight. Yeah, there's only two real boss fights. There's one here in this dark dungeon, and then you go through like an ice snow level. You have a stamina bar in this game. Oh, chicken is your healing item, and you find chicken as you kill enemies. Yeah,
that's great.
But yeah, this is one of the bosses. Is like this bound prisoner in this dark room, and then there's the nice one, which is essentially like an arena where he summons a bunch of guys with spears to fight you, and then you destroy the platform he's standing on, and you fight this elephant dude in an arena, and those are like the two bosses. I just got kind of bored because I wasn't dying. That's how I looped so much. Well, I found some gear and I was like, this gear's busted. Which was like the great sword with full green, right? And I was like, I kind of can't die when I'm using it, so I just purposely chose stuff that I was like, this is probably way worse than what I'm using, but I'm just going to test it out because there's not much else to do once you've gone through a couple of loops or gone through a loop.
Right.
Because
so
I guess
again, had a goal and...
Yeah, it just... I think at the moment it just feels kind of repetitive at the moment. There's not really much point to keep going right now.
Yeah, I feel like I don't know. Maybe it is like a roguelike fatigue, maybe, but yeah, maybe it's just maybe the need for more interesting drops, but I guess at the same time there are already interesting armor, so I don't know. Yeah, I feel like as someone who's a big fan of goal-based levels and like level design, I feel like that's what I would personally lean to. This elephant man, what?
He's summoning spikes underneath my feet. I've got to dodge out of the way. Disgraceful chieftain. I was like, log in, dude, log in. I've got my great my great sword and my ninja armor. The god setup.
Sure.
Yeah, well, I actually never used the heavy attack of the greatsword because I just kept throwing stars, and then I was like trying out different stuff. Like I used the warrior's kit with it, which also disables your heavy attack because it replaces it with the temporary damage boost.
Yeah.
But I was like, okay, well, this seems to be working. I'll keep going with this setup, and the game just it loops again. It's like,
there's an interesting idea of maybe limited, maybe is the takeaway.
It feels very like early access sort of thing.
Yeah, but it's a good start if it is the idea that add more stuff over time.
I think the game might be coming out in early access. Let me check. Yeah, so it says early access on the store page. So it's the game's gonna release in early access, and I can see like it has a pretty fun base, but I think it just at the moment it needs a lot of content. Yeah, like if they launched into if the demo was the early access, I would say that it would need more time before it launched into early access, in my opinion.
Yeah,
but yeah, seems pretty fun. My second Souls game, I guess, is a weird PSX roguelite one.
Roguelite Souls-like. Yeah.
Now, unfortunately, having having one frame of reference, I have to compare it to Sekiro, and I got to say, I mean, Sekiro is slightly better than this game in some respects.
Okay, well, I think that's a. Yeah. Well, does it have ninja outfit in Sekiro? What do you mean?
I'm wearing a ninja outfit right now, so. That's the end of Tangerine Realms Deep, and I'll see you again for more Halloween stuff and Steam Next Fest. We'll see you next time. Goodbye.
Bye.